She is doing great. She's 11 months old. She's only actually been out of the hospital for about 5 months, and of course she was 3 months premature. So she has had a interesting, almost first year. Actually, July 15th is her first year celebration. I'm going to be in DC, but we're going to do a party in August. And she's doing fabulous. She's the first baby ever to survive this condition. When I was about 20 weeks pregnant, we got an ultrasound, and they told us that there was no amniotic fluid, which means apparently that there were no kidneys. Your kidneys are what produce it. And about 40% of those babies, 30 to 40% of those babies miscarry. And then, or the parents terminate, or if they're born, they don't live, they suffocate, because the fluid is what causes the lungs to expand and grow. And so if there's no fluid, they don't grow. So even if a baby makes it to term, they pass. So it was a pretty horrific, devastating thing to hear. So we had planned to have her up at Johns Hopkins, and so then there was a NICU there that felt comfortable treating her. There were pediatric nephrologists, because she still didn't have kidneys. So you got the two hurdles. You have to get past the breathing hurdle, and then you have to get into treating the dialysis. Nobody ever got to treat the dialysis because the babies would pass because of the lung issue. She was born on July 15th at like 3 a.m. and I was just beat. I didn't realize we were still going to have to fight. You know, so that morning we had given birth, I had really thought everything was going to be good. I had hoped that they were going to treat her at OHSU, but it turns out that they had not treated a 28-weeker. We called our doctors at Hopkins and said, you know, they're not comfortable with her here. And they said, well, we don't want to put her on a 6-hour flight. We want her, but we can't put her on a 6-hour flight. And I said, well, I'm on the West Coast. Where do I go? What do we do? And they said, you can go up to Seattle, or you can go down to Stanford Children's, which was the first time I'd even heard about it. And we called both, and Stanford called back first. Seattle called back as well. It just was one of those weird things that they called back first, and we just had to go with it. They said, we want her, and we want her tonight. They hold preemies until their due date, generally, as a rule of thumb. But then also with her, it was getting the dialysis up to a home regimen where Dan and I could do it. We were home for about 4 days, and I think we got home like on a Sunday. It's a little foggy, but by that, like Tuesday was I think it was the government reopening vote. I can't remember which one it was, or maybe it was the Murray Ryan budget. It was a big one, whatever it was. So I thought, you know what, she's home. I'm gonna fly out, make this vote. It's the last vote of the year. I'll come back, we'll have 2 good weeks with her at Christmas, and I'll be back full time in January. And while I was gone, her dialysis quit working, and I'm kind of freaking out because I'm in DC. We finish votes, and I meet Dan in Seattle, and that was a rough hospitalization. The people at Seattle Children's are amazing, but it was like we had no problems when she was down, when she was supposed to have had problems, and then now when she's home, it feels like all that luck caught up with us. You know, a lot of prayer, a lot of focus, a lot of energy, a lot of good resources, good thinkers in Seattle spent time on her, and I think we were discharged mid-February, and she's been home ever since and has had no problems. She's been doing amazing. We both came to the point where when we made the decision for me to run initially as a team, that this is part of a period of time where I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to serve the people in our region. We just didn't feel like it was the right time to step out. I think there's still, you know, even just in the last year since I've been back fully focused on my new role on the Appropriations Committee, we've had some awesome gains. Whether it's helping ports or fishermen in Pacific County, or helping get our forest roads bill passed, or this new medically complex bill that I'm working on. You know, we've had some things that I think are really going to benefit people here. And so for this period of time, however long it is, we decided, he said, I'm going to step back because I think you still need to do this. And I said, okay. But I am a mom, you know. I do look around and say, am I making the right decision for my district, for my family, for my peace of mind? This is something we're going to take, you know, an election at a time. And for now, this is what we're doing. We feel good about it. We feel like we can give the time and the attention that this job deserves, as well as make sure we're meeting Abigail's needs.